Marketer of the Day, episode 695. Generate sales calls every day, achieve household name status, increase your monthly recurring revenue using authority marketing with Josh Elledge.
So this training is going to be exclusively for Marketer of the Day. And what I'm going to do in this quick peek behind the kimono is I'm actually going to reveal some pretty exciting things. I think you want to know exactly what we've done. Let me start by sharing what our accomplishments have been over the past, I'm going to say 3 to 4 months. So that's 90 to 120 days. And what we've been able to create is a system where we have been generating 15 to 20 sales calls every single week. And honestly, we could be doing twice that amount based on what I'm about to share with you, exactly what we do. And as a result of all of that activity over the past 90 to 120 days, what we've been able to do is in our pipeline right now. Now, we've got some other systems. I'm just going to admit to you right now, we've got some other systems that need to be fixed, namely our follow-up systems and our, kind of our follow-up cadence and all of that. But right now, of people who've expressed interest in our product, like they are definitely like, yeah, I definitely want more information on that. We have over $200,000 in MRR. And what's MRR stand for? Well, that stands for monthly recurring revenue. Okay. Now there's a few things we need to begin with, in terms of like, can this system work for you? So to begin with, there's a few things that, that we have at our advantage. Number one, and I'll talk about this a little bit, and we're big proponents of this. Through UpMyInfluence, we're really big on authority marketing. Now, how do I interpret authority marketing? I know there's some various definitions on that, but my big thing with authority marketing is that if you Google my name, and you can go do that right there, it's Josh Elledge, Elledge, you're probably going to see some stuff that's going to increase your comfort level a little bit. You're going to see, okay, Josh is just not some fly-by-night marketer just trying to sell me something. Like you'll find like I'm legit, like I've done the deal. And that's really important. And because before your prospects, before your potential clients, customers engage with you, guess what? They're going to check you out. That is just what consumers do. I've been studying consumer behavior for over 12 years as a consumer expert. I've been a syndicated newspaper columnist for 10 and a half years, syndicated TV, over 700 TV segments locally here in Orlando, Florida, teaching and leading and studying consumer behavior. My message to them from the very beginning is don't trust advertising. You need to go do your own research. And so I've been championing this cause for quite some time. Well, guess what? More than ever before, consumers don't trust advertising. And you can just do a quick Google search and you can look at the numbers. And if you're a marketer, you ought to pay very, very careful attention to that. Now, one book I'd recommend would be Marketing Rebellion, came out at the beginning of 2019. It's by Mark Schaefer. Excellent book if you really want to understand where, the transformation that's happened with consumers. And by the way, if you sell B2B, B2G, doesn't matter. Everyone's a consumer. We're people. You're not selling to robots. All right. We're selling to humans, and humans are going to discriminate in terms of like, okay, should I take this call with this person? Should I click on this ad? Should I engage in some way? And so you have to gain their trust. So number one, I have decent authority, and I encourage you to also get decent authority. Now, if you plug in with us at UpMyInfluence and become part of our community, what is our tribe all about? We are all about, we're men and women and others who are owning our authority. We choose to, be remarkable and be able to communicate who we truly are in a very, very effective way online. That means making sure that you're mindful of what your social media says about you, what your profile says about you, what your tagline says about you, what your bio says about you, whether you have a press kit on your website, what that says about you. Okay, that is owning your authority. So if you need help with that, I've got tons of free resources at UpMyInfluence.com. Go watch videos on our YouTube channel. Go listen to my podcasts. It is all about owning and growing your authority so that then you can increase your influence. And influence is simply, do you have the ability to inspire people? Can you inspire them to greatness? Can you share your message? I believe that everybody has a message that could positively impact the world. And so if you have influence, then you can truly make that impact. What is in your heart is probably amazing. Okay, but the problem is we live in a swipe left, swipe right world. That means that you need to be able to communicate who you are very, very well using the platforms that everybody uses today, namely social media. That's a big one. And then of course, email and working directly with people and, having great content is all a big, big, big part of that. Okay, so that's number one, authority. Number two is we actually do have really good products and services. Okay, we've battle tested them for 5 years. We've done a lot of product development. We've done a lot of research. We've had a lot of data. We've had a lot of clients. We know what works. Okay, there aren't too many people in my space that will do influencer marketing in a performance model. We do. And the reason we can do that is because we have a lot of data that knows how we can safely make it a win-win for everybody and still be able to only charge our clients performance as opposed to, big chunks of money and a long-term contract. We don't need to do that stuff anymore because we know how good we are at what we do. Similarly, that's kind of one of our main services that we provide. And number two is we do a lot of media connections. Again, it's product development. I have an amazing team, and my amazing team is really good at getting media for our clients. And so we're fairly blue ocean in what we do, and that is by design. And so with our media placements, we get our clients 5 to 15 media placements every single month, and they pay us a flat $11.99 monthly, $1,200, which is like 1/5 the cost of a normal PR firm. Normal PR firms can't do what we do. So that's really helpful. And I share those two things because it's important that you know that we've worked out a couple of things in order to really make this system, what I'm about to share with you, work really, really well. If you got problems with your product, it doesn't matter how great your marketing is, you're going to have troubles, right? Because we live in a world where you got to be authentic with people. You have to truly bring the value. Otherwise, it's just not going to work out real well. Similarly, you got to invest in your authority because people are going to check you out. Okay. So what did we figure out? Well, I'm a big devotee. That's a nice word, by the way, of Bob Burg. And there's a book that if you haven't read, it will change your life as a marketer. And it's called The Go-Giver. And I consider Bob to be a friend of mine at this point. I share testimonials. And again, based on the numbers of what I'm going to continue to share with you here, you'll understand why. And that is that the best way to engage with audiences is because everyone is naturally more skeptical than ever before. Because we're bombarded with ads. The National Marketing Association estimates that we're exposed to over 400 brand messages every day. Okay. It is, I believe it's even more than that. All right. And so you have to cut through the clutter. So how do you do that? You do that by leading with value. You give stuff away. And so here's our system. Now you have to think about it. Now here's the thing, and I don't know if Bob gets into this in his book or not, but this is one thing that we've discovered. The thing that you give away to people, it needs to be valuable to the psychographic profile of the person who would ultimately buy your product. So you can give away stuff to people that are not a good fit to be a client for your services. And that's fine. They're still not going to buy your stuff because they weren't going to buy it in the beginning. You can still give stuff away to people. Just know that the stuff that is an investment of your time, of your resources, of your money, well, you want to work out a business plan for that. And so for us, what we do is we have a number of podcasts. I've been podcasting for 6 years with Savings Angel. We started a podcast called Authority Confidential, and then we have another podcast, and it's called The Thoughtful Entrepreneur. Now, The Thoughtful Entrepreneur is a great show. It is a daily podcast, 7 days a week. And what I do is we outreach, we use, I have a researcher that goes out on the web and I say, listen, I just want you to find me companies of, it looks like they're doing 6 figures or more in business. It looks like that they're kind of growth focused, like they're interested in marketing their services. And then we just extend an invitation. And that invitation is, would you like to be on our podcast? We'd love to feature you. Now, because I'm doing 7 episodes a week, I have some inventory that I can work with. And by the way, just so you know, we have, and some people like podcasters, when they hear that I do a daily show, they're like, oh my gosh, how do you do that? Now, what you don't realize, like I'm recording 10 to 15 interviews every single week. We have more than 70 episodes in the can right now that have not yet been published. And so who am I interviewing? Well, I'm interviewing people that are probably a really good fit for our service. So Go-Giver, we reach out, we interview and offer, we invite them to be on our podcast. I record those conversations on Zoom. Why? Well, think about it from a sales perspective. When you're working with a potential client, you want to have high touch with them. Video is always going to be higher touch than on the phone. I don't do phone calls. If they're not able to do video, I say, I'm sorry, but I only do video for this podcast. If you want to chat about our services or whatever, that's fine. We could talk about that on the phone, but I do not record podcasts unless we have video. Now, the reason I say that is that we actually also take 30 to 60 second snippets to make this deal even sweeter. Okay, we have a decent social media audience. All told across all of our channels, we've got over 120,000, over 150 if you include my Savings Angel social media as well. So we say, listen, in addition to the podcast, which is a smaller audience for sure, they're engaged, they're going to listen to a 15 to 20 minute podcast. And I'll explain exactly technically how I do all this stuff, by the way. So don't worry in case you're taking notes, like, how does he do that? I'll explain it. All right. So with the podcast, like everyone gets an invite. Now we vet them. They need to look like they're making money. If their branding it's like terrible, like we can tell that it's kind of amateur hour for them. It's not that, I believe that everyone should be able to tell their story, but this podcast, the programming for this podcast is designed to interview successful business owners that have successfully scaled their business. That's the subject matter that I'm sharing with my audience, which also happens to be a good fit for our target client. And so then we jump on Zoom. We talk about, for 5 to 10 minutes. Now, in the future, I'm going to have a pre-interview with someone on my team. And what they will do is kind of vet them, figure out what the story is. So I can jump on, record the interview, and then have enough time at the end so that we could talk about potentially working together, which again, this is a big part of it. So I do this on Zoom. It's on video. So we talk for a few minutes to figure out what I'm going to interview. Now, I've done a lot of interviews, so I'm very, very skilled. I don't do one of those things where I ask the same 10 questions or whatever. I don't do that. Like I follow my curiosity. It's not that hard once you've done this a bunch of times to interview someone successfully. So, you're really just getting people to tell their story. How do they do that? What's their service? What's the problem they solve? Why do they do what they do? How are they growing? How are they scaling? How are they marketing? Are they doing advertising? I'm asking them questions and think about it from this perspective, from a sales perspective. A lot of your first call, if you're doing a sales call, it's going to be discovery anyway. So all I'm doing is I'm recording my sales calls and I'm turning them into a podcast. Now, I got to provide good content for the audience. And so just go listen to The Thoughtful Entrepreneur and you'll see exactly like, oh, Josh is actually interviewing someone. Now, not all of them, some other people like their existing clients, or there's some, there's other people that we squeeze into the mix occasionally. But vast majority of them, like 95% of them, you're listening to my sales call. And so I'm going to do them a solid. I'm going to make them look good. Everybody gets promoted. We give to regardless if they ever do business with us or not. That's okay. I don't need everyone to buy our stuff. But what I know from the numbers is about 20% of people we will ultimately do business with. And actually, it's with better follow-up, it'll probably be closer to 40 based on the number of people who say yes, they absolutely are interested in our services that we provide. So we're working on that. So we'll do another video once actually my team and I were really hammering down this amazing follow-up system. But I'll explain what I do at this point that's gotten us that 20%. So record the interview. We're going to promote everybody. And you do it without any expectation of return. Okay. Again, this is Bob Berg, Go Giver philosophy. Yes, ultimately you want those people to do business, but absolutely, I do not want someone to get a feel like, oh, the only reason why I'm talking with Josh right now is because he wants to sell me stuff. Like no one gets that vibe. And I work very, very hard that no one feels that way. I want them to feel like a treasured guest. We're going to promote them. We're going to do them a solid. It's an excuse to build up a relationship, start a relationship. And so to get to your target clients, well, you can either advertise to them, but I think advertising ultimately it attracts a lower quality potential client. It really does, because busy executives and influencers and media, like in our world, it's like we've gotten really, really good at protecting ourselves from the noise. We've gotten really, really good at protecting and shielding ourselves from offers and advertising and, hey, come look over here and come do this. Okay, we just don't do that. So if you want to get through to the people who jealously guard their time, you got to lead with just presenting an offer that's a no-brainer. So we do research on the web. We also use LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I'm not going to go into it in this video. We don't have time in this training. I don't have time, but catch me another time. Catch me outside. How about that? And we'll talk about LinkedIn sometime, because I loved LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. Nothing even comes close for speed networking, for speed dating, is using LinkedIn Sales Navigator. Again, you also got to have a really, really good profile. Go check me out on LinkedIn and just copy what I do on my LinkedIn profile. I promise you it works. So again, just search me. My name is Josh Elledge, Elledge, and just copy what I do. You don't have to let me know that you were there. All right. So then what happens? Well, we record the Zoom video. It gets in the pipeline. About 6 to 10 weeks later, that podcast is going to air. And in the meantime, I send video emails. I think I use BombBomb. And so what I'll do is I will send them a video email afterwards. I say, hey, Jack, it was really great chatting with you. Thank you so much for sharing that with my audience. We'll send you some assets in 8 to 10 weeks right before the podcast goes live, so you could share that with your audience. So I'm getting them to promote my show, their appearance. I want to make them look really good on the podcast. So you'll see that, I work hard to, get them to share their story in a very positive light. So I want them to look good. And so then I say, also in this email, I've included some information about how we can get you 10 to 15 or 5 to 15 media placements every single month, or how we could get you connected with influencers, or how we could get you on a lot of podcasts, or how we could set up, if we talked about like, if their big pain point is sales appointments, we have no problem with that. Like that has become a service that we offer now, is we'll actually do appointment settings for clients as well. And a lot of this is, again, it's years of product development and figuring out what people want. Can you solve that need? And so we've just built an internal team that's really good at doing this. So I send the video email and then ask them to reschedule on my calendar. My Elisa, who's on my team, will follow up with them a couple of times. We're developing some much better systems where we can continue to give. So my intention is just to start getting to work for them. And then at some point, they're going to be like, Josh, you could stop giving me free stuff because I'm never going to work with you. Or they're going to be like, should I be paying you? So that's my intention. Let me go through okay. And then ultimately we're going to jump on another call. We're going to talk about getting signed up. They just buy our product on the service. Everything's, we've got little videos that explain exactly how our services work. Like I have the website do the selling for me. I just get to be the good guy, maybe answer any other questions, personalize the message to them. And then they buy. So let me go through the numbers. So in order for me to research, do a podcast interview, get that out, what we produce is not NPR, like super high quality podcasts. We're cranking them out. But our cost is really minimal. It's about maybe total cost in what we're giving away to this potential client is about $50. Okay. Does this make sense? Well, let me go through the numbers. So we spend $50 times 5, okay, because our close rate is about 20%. So I'm about $250 in. Let's add another $50 in just for good measure. $300 in. For every $300 I invest, our average lifetime value for our client is somewhere between the neighborhood. We haven't worked out the numbers exactly, but it's above $4,000. Probably around $6,000. Okay, our products are they range from $400 a month on up to $3,000 a month. Okay. But on average, I'm just guessing it like works. Most people buy like a $1,200 product, about $1,000, $1,200 product. Again, it's way more than $4,000. So I'm going to say, just to be conservative, I'll just say $5,000. So for every $300 I spend in client acquisition, I'm getting $5,000 out. Okay. Try those numbers on Facebook. See if you can get those numbers. Maybe you can. Okay. I haven't seen it. Okay. And I'm not saying it can't work. If you've worked that out and it's consistent for you and Facebook hasn't changed the game for you, good for you. Now, here's a difference though. Okay. Instead of selling, what am I doing? I'm giving. I love what I do. I give value. I serve people. I make other people look good. We've built up this audience so that we can use this platform to celebrate the successes and the stories and the mission and purpose of other people. I wake up in the morning and I'm so excited about what I do. I don't wake up in the morning and say, I got to take everybody through my sales script. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just not really spectacular at whatever the latest, the greatest closing techniques are. I just haven't really needed to be very good at it, I guess, because people are like, Josh, you're a pretty legit dude. I appreciate that. And so, and so that's our mission, is just to lead with giving value. And if you do that, you might feel like you're not closing as many people right out of the gate. Okay. And a lot of what I've been talking about, like the authority and all this other stuff, it's a little bit more like farming than it is hunting and gathering. And so, but if you're not necessarily a natural born salesperson, I'm not, but I am a natural born, empathic, I just like people and I want to do best for them. And, so I always, that's my measurement. I always ask, am I truly providing the most amount of value possible? So that's what, now again, over the past 90, maybe 120 days, we have now enough people in our pipeline that if we add up all of those monthly recurring revenue, and we're talking where there's people that are interested in services that range, anywhere from maybe $800. We don't sell too many $400 stuff. But $1,200, $2,000, $3,000 a month. Well, everybody that we have on our sales pipeline right now, it is over $200,000 worth of people that I now have an active relationship with. So when they close, and I don't need them to close in the first week. Again, some salespeople are probably flipping their lid right now. What are you doing? But I believe in relationships. I believe in continuing to give value to those people. We're good. I got my bills are paid for. I'm good. We're growing and expanding. One of our biggest challenges right now is hiring. We cannot hire enough people to fulfill the work. So I'm kind of intentionally shoot, we could really go for, be a little bit more bold in kind of closing some of these deals. But that's actually our biggest challenge. So we're intentionally, not being very hardcore on our closing. So, but again, when you look at $200,000 MR monthly recurring revenue, that's a pretty good gig. That's $2.4 million. And the good news is it's not stopping. If I showed you my schedule next week, you would see I'm completely maxed out. I do these 30-minute calls Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I start at 10 a.m. and stop at somewhere between 4 and 5. Every single day, I'm booked out 100. Every single week over the next couple of weeks, I'm booked out 100% solid. You can actually go to my schedule and you can see this for yourself. So if you go to UpMyInfluence.com/schedule and you could try and book some time with me, you'll see, whoa, yeah, this guy's booked out. And that's good. And that's actually, we've even actually stopped our outreach, because we just have too many people. Cause right now we're booking into December. And as of when I'm recording, this is the middle of October. So, Yeah, so there's some problems. So again, if you are an amazing salesperson and you want to grow and be a part of my team, connect with me and let's chat. Let's see if we can work out something together. I just put that out there. But hey, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this is super valuable. Just message me below, find a way to get in contact with me. If you're like, whoa, Josh, you kind of breezed over that one part really quickly. I only have like 20 minutes here. So I gotta make this as quickly as possible, dispense this information as quickly as possible. But certainly reach out to me, comment, ask me publicly or whatever. Like, Josh, you talked about this, but how do you do this part of it? I'll absolutely, if you follow me on the socials, I will absolutely break some of this stuff down a little bit more granular, like maybe a little bit more like on the technical podcast stuff. I could just tell you it's not that hard. We use great tools. We use, like I said, we use Zoom to record, Auphonic. We do a little bit of trimming and editing using Audacity. And then we upload it to Auphonic, which is a great tool. It's like $20 a month. We have an audio template, automatically puts it into Libsyn. Libsyn automatically puts it everywhere else, on the all the podcast directories. We do create posts about that, and we do take those videos and we create little video snippets that we share out on social media as well. So anyway, I don't want to get too down into the weeds in that stuff, but hit me up if you got questions on that. Otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully this was super, super, super valuable for you. And again, I want to thank Marketer of the Day for allowing me to dispense this information. Take care.
Do you want a podcast like this one? Well, what's been holding you back? What if it was easy and you had someone to help you get it going? Check out doneforyouPodcasting.com, where we'll handle some or all of your podcast setup, production, marketing, and more. See you soon at doneforyouPodcasting.com.